and to see a viable counterweight to the growing influence of China. Now, let's have a look as to what has it actually transpired to. Please move on. Next one. Yeah. India's stated objectives is to increase its nuclear power generation capacity from 4,000 megawatt to 20,000 megawatt, and to expand its civilian nuclear power generation capacity from its current output of 4 gigawatt to 20 gigawatt by 2020. Now, what does it mean for the weapons development perspective? Move on, please. This means an estimated annual uranium production of 3,000 tons and estimated uranium consumption of 450 tons. So this means there's a gap of 150 uranium tons, which will be the strategic fuel reserve, which India is looking at. And that also means that India's estimated reserve of uranium represents only 1% of the world. So technically, we are looking in a situation in which there's going to be 1.5 tons available, which has the potential of more than 400 weapons annually, which would be added to the Indian nuclear arsenal, just depending upon the rough estimates which are available according to them. Please move on. Can you come to the Indian nuclear triad? Basically, the NSG waiver which was given to India argued for and guaranteed that India can proceed to import uranium fuel, nuclear materials, equipment, and technologies for a civilian nuclear program. Nonetheless, because of Article 3, under even safeguards, the ability to divert it exclusively for weapons purposes cannot be excluded. Now, the triad development in India is, India has acquired as a short second strike capability, Chakra 2 from Russia, which are kilo-class nuclear subs. They're also, by 2011, they had not only inducted, but had done user trial tests for the 2,000 kilometer range Agni 2 missile. Agni 4 was also tested and is expected to be inducted into the Indian Army by 2013. Indian Defense Research Organization has already just recently tested Agni 5, and its direct relevance to ABM technologies is something which cannot be left alone. And of course, the capability which is going to come about in terms of boom-morphing capability. Please move on. India has also continued to produce highly enriched uranium at its rare materials plant, a centrifuge uranium enrichment facility in Mysore. India believes that it is going to produce 30 to 45% uranium-235, which is much less than a weapons grade, and it is only intended for India's nuclear submarine propulsion program. Nonetheless, they are saying that they can use this program for future for not only developing their submarine fleet, but also using it for other multiple roles. Those multiple roles have not been identified and therefore create a big loophole for that. And then there is also a special materials enrichment facility which has been made in Karnataka. This facility would also be looking at the same issue. I'll just conclude now with the last 2 slides. Please, can you move on? How is it impacting on the situation or the deterrent situation in India-Pakistan? Please, can you move on to the reactors? I'm just going to show these reactors so that we have an idea as to how many reactors India has. That should be the slide. The nuclear deal has significant implications or ramifications for the nuclear deterrent stability in South Asia, because this would make India eligible to purchase nuclear fuel for 14 reactors from the US and the NSG. This is a list of the Indian nuclear reactors, and as you can see, there are 32 Indian reactors at this moment which are in operation, leaving out the fast breeder reactors, which is almost going to be 10 reactors. And then there's also going to be a rapid expansion in India's nuclear arsenal. Then there is the issue of the strategic fuel reserve, and last but not least, that there is no tangible promotion which is linked to stopping the flow of valuable scientific, technical information and expertise from the civilian nuclear facilities to nuclear military facilities of India. India may shift trained personnel from civilian nuclear facilities to military facilities. That means quantitative improvement into their nuclear forces. We'll just have a look at the nuclear forces just to remap that. And then coming to the Indian military cold start doctrine. Please, can you move back? Yeah. This is just a list of their reactors. As you can see, the nuclear forces of Pakistan as well as the nuclear forces of India, the reactor types, the missile systems which have been put in place. I'm not going into details because all the audience here is not only part of this field but are quite familiar with that. Please move on. Move on. And I'll just talk one line on the Indian military cold start doctrine. which for the first time lowers the level of nuclear understanding on one issue, and that is the issue of linking sub-conventional warfare to conventional warfare, because according to the Indian military Cold Start doctrine, they are talking about attacking Pakistan at 8 multiple different areas, which they believe within the first 72 to 96 hours, which they believe will be less than the perceived Pakistani threshold. And by linking and pre-delegating that to any sub-conventional terrorist attack in India, and having a response option for India essentially lowers the deterrence potential in the region. Now, the conclusion is, what is the way forward? Can you please bring the last slide forward? What is it that we are actually asking for? According to the NCA statement of Pakistan in 14th December 2010, Pakistan has argued that Pakistan will never accept discriminatory treatment and that it rejects any effort to undermine its strategic deterrent. Pakistan will not be party to any approach that is prejudicial to its legitimate national security interests, and has declared that Pakistan will not support a fissile material cut-off treaty unless existing stocks of fissile material also make part of it. So the question is, what is it that we're arguing? We're arguing that arms control and multilateralism only work when regional interlocutors and the international security architectures recognize the security dilemmas of the states if they truly want progress. And if we want progress, number one, India should make some legally binding non-proliferation commitment. NSC should take a principled stance in technology enabling states to make a foundation for the global export control system. The gap between legality and reality have to be reduced. Decentralization and de-emphasis on deterrence credibility by a triad development is definitely not what is sought. And most importantly, regional arms control agreement is the way forward. Energy cooperation between nuclear supplier states needs to be based on an international new gold standard like the International Industry Development Standards, which would have effective cooperation and agreement between technology-enabled states as the main idea. I thank you all for your indulgence.
Dr. Jaspal has acquired a reputation and a name for himself on the clarity with which he highlights the various issues. So I'm sure you will enjoy his presentation. Dr. Jaspal.
Thank you very much, General Ehsan. I'm grateful with this forum, Rabta Forum, and Dr. Mirza that he is giving me this opportunity. Of course, being an in-line sixth speaker on the same topic, number of the things will be repeated. But I try to avoid certain repetitions. Let me put this FMCT debate in a proper perspective. Of course, different people have a different opinion. When we try to place it in a proper perspective, we have to trace its origin. It is not a new idea. This was part of first Bruges Plan, which was presented in 1946 in the United Nations. But at that time, the